Welcome to this new edition of my computational photography notes for the month of August 2022. And so let's start. So for those who've already seen my video about more traditional photography for the month of August, which was released last week, you won't be surprised I'm still in Iceland. And being in Iceland, working on my photographic software, I wanted to create a new insaturator that would kind of make darks more dark and colors more vivid and increase the overall contrast and power of, well, depths of the scenes that I had in Reykjavik with those low lights, summertime. And so basically I started coding something. I had something pretty clear in my head on how to modify images. So those two pictures on the left, the center and left picture, that's my first throw at an insaturator I named Isla. I'm in Iceland, so why not name it Isla? And so yeah, the first two examples were quite solid and they really looked like what I wanted. And I was pretty happy about it. But again, when I develop those insaturators or filmulators, often depending on where you are, there's going to be really different light environments. So I like to test them in many different situations, and only once they're efficient in most cases, dark, light, contrasty, non-contrasty situations, then I'll release them if they make sense aesthetically and photographically. So that was my first throw at it. The picture on the right, that's Gaukurin. It's a fantastic bar and live venue in Reykjavik. If you like rock or modern music and like to be in a smooth and cool place to have a drink, highly recommended. And I was probably drinking a beer and testing my random preset generator and QR code system on Digital Paula. Every occasion is a good occasion. Just took a few shots, low lights, very contrasty because it's a live venue. And yeah, pretty happy about random preset that came out here. Again, going back to this new insaturator, Isla. Here's a good example of what's happening to my the source image that comes out of my sensors. That's an iPhone 12 Pro Max. And basically the left picture is what comes out of the sensor. The middle image is what my insaturator does to the image. And on the right, that's the final results with an applied filmulator on top to give it some meat, some grain, and more warmth and contrast. So that's basically the chain of transformation on most of my apps. And that's Camare that outputs those three images. So pretty happy about this new insaturator, its first version. But I know from experience that it's not going to work in all situations. And while I was testing the picture on the left, far left, again, some exceptions don't work. It depends on how the scene is, how my algorithm manage the light environment and analyze the image. And here I felt that this kind of tube-like effect on the picture on the left, which is a bit exaggerated here because I was already trying to figure it out. So I tried to increase it to understand better what was going on. But in that situation with a very homogeneous background, kind of felt tubey. And in the middle picture, same version of the software algorithm. I didn't feel it when the scene was more complex. So again, the right image is a good example, a good illustration of what I do in those cases. I try to pinpoint where the problem is in terms of software, of algorithm. And so I increase what I believe is the problem to understand what the optical result, where the optical result is generated. And in that case, I found out that this tube effect was generated in certain circumstances, and then I had to resolve it. So those 3 next images is basically my process. So very nice, 2 really good looking lamps on the ceiling of the place I was staying at in Reykjavik. The picture far left, that's the start image with the same version of the algorithm that had this tube-like effect. I actually like the results in this first picture, but I know, now that I know where the problem is in terms of code, I'm going to try to fine-tune it to resolve what I think is the problem that generates what I don't like. And often I will increase the effects for a while, just to understand better what I do. It's a lot of trial and error. And yeah, the middle candidates felt already better. I didn't have that tube-like feel, but I felt that in more extreme situations, I would probably still be generating something I don't like. So I'd worked a little bit more on it, and the right picture, even so it seems more grainy in that case, it's just a proof of concept for myself while working on the algorithm. But basically the way I do it on the far right image is how I feel the insaturator will make sense. So after that I was pretty happy, but still I have to test it with multi-camera and with filmulators to see how it will react. For example, with that's a dual photo, 2 versions of it. With my head coding, I actually have my computer on my lap when taking this picture. I have to test this with black and white. What happens to my insaturators when I get rid of the color map? In that case, I felt it worked. And then what happens when you add filmulators on top of this new version of the algorithm? And so lots of trial and error, lots of tests, practical tests. And usually once I'm happy on my workplace, I will go out again and try to push the insaturator or filmulator to its limits and see if I'm okay to release it. And in that case, I was in Reykjavik during Pride Week, and even cats, as you see on the picture on the left, even cats have rainbow colors. So a really super nice week, very, very fun city to be there, very good vibes. And yeah, the picture I took with a very low sun, very contrasty situations were quite... I was quite happy with it. Still in the middle image, some problems with my algorithm in parts of the image where the sensor is saturated. As you can see in the white part, which has some kind of weird gradient. So I still had to go back to code and try to resolve that at best before releasing this new insaturator named Isla. And yeah, the picture on the right, that's probably taken with Camare, I guess. Not sure, but that's the Booty insaturator, and I don't know what filmulator, but I'm actually taking a picture of me coding, so I thought that was a good illustration. Then Isla was released, or at least pushed to Apple, because it's only on iPhone, sadly, not yet on Android, but you push it to Apple and Apple releases it. So I pushed it, and then I went back to working on my random preset generator and the QR code exchange mechanism. So I tried during the day, during my other activities, I tried the different algorithms and see how it reacts, what kind of presets come out of the machine. And that's basically what you get, those 2 examples. And as I was lucky, if you've seen the previous video about traditional photography, I was lucky to be in Iceland, in Reykjavik, during the volcano's awakening in the southwest. So I went to see the eruption. So that was a good occasion also to test this new preset generator and see what came out of it in really different light situations. So that's on my way to the volcano. And then at the volcano. So as you could compare, if you go see that video I was talking about, the previous one, or my Instagram feed or my website, Pictures taken of the volcano are really different using my apps, my photo apps, and that's the goal. I don't need my phone to recreate the feel I have with my larger lenses and higher quality cameras. That's not what I do. Some people do. It's not my thing. So I develop apps to have that kind of stuff. And here, the dual picture on the left, that's the volcano with two of the lenses, the wide angle and the tele lens of my iPhone 12 Pro Max. And the right picture is just one of those random preset generated by Digital Paula. Again, two pictures of the volcano. Lots of tests on the quality of the randomizer. The idea is that the randomizer always give you something interesting aesthetically or photographically, and not just random crap. At least to my taste. And at that point in time, I felt it worked pretty well. And then going back to the city after visiting this really phenomenal place. If you have the occasion to go see a lava lake and an active volcano, I'd recommend it. It's quite an interesting experience. And that's using, this picture is using Isla, this new insaturator on Camare in a really low light environment. That's in the bus going back to Reykjavik. And I felt that the algorithm did work. That's what I wanted to get. And so, that's what I released. Again, this idea of random preset generation, I find it interesting because I like taking pictures. I code, so I like to fine-tune stuff and fine-tune presets and preselections and variables on my cameras. But actually, once I take picture, I don't really care about it. And sometimes I want to be surprised by my equipment. I want to be confronted to innovation. And that's where this random preset generator comes in. And again, two examples in the bus on the left. And I guess going back to Europe, flying over Great Britain from Iceland on the right. And I think those presets are pretty different. Back in Switzerland, still coding. Once I've got rid of most of the problems of the new insaturator, the problems linked to the general quality of the random preset generator, I started working again on the homogeneity of the exchange of presets between apps. So here, two examples. On the left, it's Camare. On the right, it's Digital Paula. I probably used the QR code on the right to try to import it in Camare. It didn't work well in that situation because on the left, I know I have regex as an insaturator while the QR code was map-laid on the right. So it's, again, tests and errors, and we try. It doesn't work. We try again, and finally it works. Here on the left, again, one of those random presets in the Geneva Bay with the water fountain, the famous water fountain, and the small yellow boats which are named Mouette, which is the public transportation to cross the bay in Geneva. The middle photo is just a photo I took with Camare. And on the right, that was just an illustration of sometimes where my ideas come from. I have an app which is named DarkCam. It's a camera made to work in low light situations, not to disturb other people, because you can really, the ergonomics are made for you to take pictures with a very dim screen. And this app actually has the option to have flash. So because it's the same image engine, I do have the access to those random presets, Camare and Digital Paula style, but I also have flash. So that gave me the idea I had to start working on integrating flash and flashlight options for picture taking on my other apps. Again, on the left, that's back to my favorite lab, which is basically my kitchen, testing my apps. On the left, that's Camare for DarkCam, working on the quality of the QR code and the preset generation in accordance to the other apps and the image engine, the shared image engine, Camare in the middle. And on the right, one example was DarkCam of a black and white auto-generated preset. Here's those 3 pictures. Going to something else, I wanted to bring a new filmulator to the collection of filters. So that's a filmulator I based on a soft and dusty 35mm film. So basically filmulators are the last processing of my image in my apps, in my image engine. And so I had to, a bit like insaturators, I have to modify the algorithm in order for it to work fine with my different filters and work fine with every situation possible. So the 2 pictures, the middle one and the one on the right, that's with the HDR insaturator, and that's the first renderings with this new filmulator. I was pretty happy about it. That was the first version. And those last pictures, the picture on the left, it's really testing. So it's basically night on the right, that's a dual photo, and a strong light on the left, and seeing if this new filmulator works as expected, and kind of works. And so that's almost a final version of what I wanted. And and again, back the 3 pictures on the right, that's back in Iceland and working on a new insaturator. And here's just 3 outputs from my software, from this new algorithm where I'm dividing the picture into different color channels, green, blue, and red here, but that's not going to be the final colors. It's just to test my algorithm, and that's the first step towards something new. So I hope you enjoyed the pictures and you found that entertaining as usual. If you have questions, comments, don't hesitate. You can put them below. And see you next time.